Nothing. It's a card from my dad.
What is it? Wait. Dear son, happy Festivus? What is Festivus?
It's nothing. It's nothing.
When George was growing
Jerry,
up,
no.
his father
No.
hated all the commercial and religious aspects of Christmas, so he made up his own holiday.
All right.
And instead of a tree, didn't your father put up an aluminum pole?
Jerry, stop it.
What weren't there feats of strength that always ended up with you crying?
Can't take it anymore. I'm going to work. You happy now?
Everyone! Welcome, newcomers.
I find your belief system fascinating.
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're gonna hear about it.
Another Festivus miracle!
Welcome, everybody, to the greatest Festivus miracle of all, which is the fact that we get to keep doing these. Somehow it just falls into place every year, usually with the same text message of, hey, this is like a week away. And we immediately start planning and getting our things together. So grab an eggnog, grab a fifth of bourbon, whatever is going to help you get through it. And we're just know that we here at Presbycast are happy to have you. It's been a little while since we've done an episode. There's definitely been some busyness and some goings on in our parts of the world, so we're gonna close out the year, I think, with a really strong one. You can see we've got an incredible panel of guests, including but not limited to one dead person, multiple OPC members and pastors, and some other folks who usually show up from time to time as well. So you kind of got your crash course on the history lesson of Festivus. We should note as well that it is a historical fact that Festivus is real and originated from the life of one of the writers of Seinfeld as well. So it's not just made up for the show. There is lived experience that brings this all to everybody. So
authentic brokenness.
That's true. So for many, they look more forward to this than they may the next 2 days. But we'll see where it goes.
All right. Well, happy Festivus from Presbycast, and it wouldn't be. This is our 10th show in our 10th year. We haven't been doing it 10 years, but we're in our 10th year, and we've done this every year, whether we should have or not. But it wouldn't be Festivus without the bishop of Western Festivus. Now, Western Festivus doesn't necessarily refer to the West Coast, but that's where he joins us from. He's not a Presbyterian. He was once. But now he's a Dutch Reformed guy, though he's not Dutch. But look at him. He's dressed up like the dude. He's got the sweater. He's got the White Russian. It's Dan Borvan, the bishop. And Bishop, what words do you have? What words of comfort, joy, consolation do you have for us from the left coast?
Strikes and gutters, ups and downs. The dude abides. Happy Festivus, everybody.
Absolutely. So, what is going on out there in California? I mean, there's nothing to complain about in California.
Not a bit. We have trouble making our Festivus grievances here in the People's Republic of California. We're just hanging on, waiting for Christian nationalism to kick in, and we can have a Christian prince. It's going to be Gavin Newsom. So, prophecy alert: Gavin Newsom is going to be your new Christian prince, 2028. Post-millennialism is back, baby. So Fire up the White Russians. It's time to celebrate.
Well, he looks great. He's fit. He's ready to go. So,
Are you talking
all
about
good.
me or Gavin Newsom?
but just if the sweater fits, I think that's what we'll say.
I believe "Fire Up the White Russians" is a Ukraine sympathizing statement as well.
Yeah, we didn't want to get political tonight. Certainly, that's just something we didn't want to happen. So, any opening words for us?
Just happy to have the grievances aired. We're going to clean out the closets of dirty laundry and air all the Festivus grievances, good and hard.
All right, so we won't get into those yet. I suppose in order, I mean, we would typically say age before beauty, but our next guest is older than anyone here, including me, amazingly enough, and even Jim. I'm younger than Jim, but with his new beard, he looks, roughly my age. But we have Dr. Martin Lloyd Jones, and not for the first time. And let's see if the connection to the other dimension is working. Dr. Lloyd Jones, are you there?
Yes. Is this on the radio?
It is. Yes. And
Well, that's great.
please in English, not Welsh, if you will.
That isn't possible. English is the bastardization of Welsh. It's great to be here back on the Presbycast. I've gorged myself. I have meatloaf coming out of my ears. I plan on throwing back a few refreshing frescas, getting my Baptist buzzed this evening, and finishing it all off with a bag of Snyder's of Hanover hard pretzels to indulge my wild OPC side as a nod to our OPC guests. I understand that you all love your hard pretzels, not unlike your hard, crusty exteriors. I look at this. I look at these men. Distinguished. I think they might be older than me with these beards. The combined length is really something. It's great to be here.
Well, that's in as much as you're able, and you've observed events of the last year or since the last time you've been here. Do you have any opening grievances? I mean, do you have any complaints, or are there things in this modern world, this modern reformed world, that perplex you?
I did lose my card to the atomic subs. I was one sub away from becoming a submarine captain, but I have to go see the bookie to whom I've given my burner number. But I think really the first grievance that I have is the fact that the McRib is currently not being offered in my area. So the opportunity to stuff my gullet and test my intestine...
Nor mine. I was going to consume one live tonight because I know Sean Morris loves to hear men eat on podcast. But yes, they're gone. I checked 3 stores and no McRibs here. So Sean Morris will explain in a bit why the McRib is so important to the holiday. But continue, Doctor.
It's systematic gourmet discrimination. My intestines have been deprived of that which is not a bug but a feature. I need to clear out. So that's really my first culinary grievance. But I'm sure I can't be the only one.
Oh, I don't know. It's we can't complain in Tennessee. Whataburger and In-N-Out are moving in, and that's
You're welcome for that. California says what you're welcome.
Well, we'll see. A lot of people talk it down, but I'm sure I'm going to love it. So anything else from you initially, Dr. Jones? Lloyd Jones, sorry.
Oh, yes. Actually, I wanted, probably at the top of my list, and we can circle back to this later, but microaggressions. I really don't appreciate the microaggressions in certain Presbyterian denominations, and so what I'm thinking of doing, I'm going to sort of crowdsource this idea here, I'm going to start a petition and pass it around about how I'm very grieved, and I might even weep and lament at all the microaggressions that I suffer as a Brit. And I was wondering if you all would like to sign. Do you know any signers that would like to sign my petition?
It's a popular thing. In fact, I've got a little monologue we may play that it makes the point that that Festivus is just perfect for our current culture. Let's hear this now, and you can react to it. I think this will be helpful. You bring up a good point. Here we go. Oh, where did I do? Oh, hold on. Here we go.
Most of us, we must ask, are not grievances just a form of mourning or lament? Festivus should be a popular holiday in the Reformed world because we love to have laments, even regularly scheduled laments. It's a big deal these days to let it be known that you are lamenting this or lamenting that, and Festivus is there to meet this need, this longing to lament. The preacher in Ecclesiastes says that it's better to be in the house of mourning than in the house of feasting. And mourning is grieving. Grieving involves grievance, does it not? Better to be in the house of mourning than feasting. Festivus dares to ask, why not both? Why not enjoy a delicious McRib on Christmas Adam? Why not enjoy meatloaf with the family? And then why not grieve, lament, and mourn the condition of this world, but mostly of other people, of course. We remind you on Festivus that when you point a finger at someone else, there are 3 fingers pointing back at you. So we suggest that you point with your open hand and point all 5 fingers at the malefactor, if you will. What indeed? What is Festivus but kinetic mourning, kinetic grieving? It's the perfect fake holiday for the Reformed people, for Calvinists, for everyone. So we say, from Presbycast to the haters, happy Festivus.
All right, Doctor, it's almost like you wrote that because it hit all your points.
All of the high points. I would say I couldn't say it better than myself, but that would be lying. I say it better than everyone, judging by this Welsh accent. So you said it as good as you could as an American.
Well, I appreciate that.
I think the 5-finger pointing has been co-opted by Stone Choir as the Nazi salute, so we got to be careful throwing that out.
But you want to keep your elbow bent and keep it below the chest.
Tuck the elbow.
Yes, and that's good. Yes, you want an angle there, not a straight line.
I'm sure that their mother will bring them an ice pack down into the basement where they dwell. After an insult like that one. But my last grievance was the fact that my Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA Bible did not come in time for Christmas morning. So all the little Lloyd Joneses will be without the King of America's imprimatur and his seal of approval. I know that Dan is especially distraught at these developments as well.
I have that on a loop. It's actually our prelude every Lord's Day before the call to worship. We hear God Bless the USA.
Well, what goes better with saying grace than the Pledge of Allegiance?
Well, now you're just offending people. Well, let's go to a unificator, if you will. Dr. Sean Morris. Sean, explain this new dimension, the McRib, the Adam dimension of Festivus to the uninitiated. Since you're one of the more famous Festivus figures in the country, and you just happen to be my pastor, but I'm doubly blessed and highly favored, apparently.
Well, thank you, and I'm delighted to be so in such esteemed company tonight, and with such with such esteemed accolades. Well, here's how it started, Brad. About, let's see, this is 2025, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I stole a meme from a friend of mine on social media, and I just started regularly posting it every year on December the 23rd. Or I guess it would be December the 22nd, that particular meme that I stole. But basically, the gist of it was, tomorrow is Christmas Adam, December the 23rd, from which proceeds Christmas Eve. Celebrate with a McRib. Christmas Adam, right? Adam, then Eve, right? Eve was fashioned out of the side of Adam, out of the rib from his side. Adam and Eve. There you go. Fun little pun. I share this stupid little meme every year just for kicks and giggles on social media, just to get groans out of people. That's mostly what I do on social media, is just to post the dad jokes and the groaners, just to irritate those closest to me who get so irate about them. And, well, about this time last year, there was a lovely woman who was a staff reporter from the New York Times, and apparently she was writing a story on this cultural phenomenon called Christmas Adam. At least from her vantage point, this Christmas Adam thing was a little bit more than just a joke. It was something of a cultural phenomenon, and she was going to write a story about it. So I get an email forwarded to me around this time last year from a lady allegedly claiming to be a reporter from the New York Times, saying, sir, I'm writing a story on Christmas Adam. Here's my contact information. I found this tweet that you put out there a couple years ago, and I was curious if I could give you a call and just interview for a few minutes for the story that I'm writing. Well, honestly, I thought the whole thing was a prank. I thought it was those jokers, my buddies from Larger for Life, who were just messing with me. AI can do some pretty impressive stuff. You can make fake emails and fake signatures and emails, and I thought they were just putting me up to something. So before I responded to the email, I clicked through the links in the bottom of her signature. Well, it looked real enough. And so then I went to the New York Times website and I looked through the staff listing, and sure enough, there she was, listed as the Elizabeth Dias, the national religion correspondent for the Times. The whole thing was bona fide. The whole thing was real. So I emailed her back and said, ma'am, I'd be delighted to talk to you, but just so you know, the meme that you found that I posted is just a gag. It's just a dumb dad joke that I do every year. And she replied back and said, no, I understand that, but I'm writing a story and I'd love to talk to you. So I said, okay. And that's what we did. And, so I knew she was writing the story, and I gave my little explanation of it, of how it's just a joke, and some friends of mine, we get McRibs from McDonald's, or we get regular ribs, and we eat them on December the 23rd to celebrate Christmas Adam, and, just make a whole joke of the thing. And she took that all down. So I knew that this was going to be a story in the Times, and she emailed me, or texted me rather, and said thanks for it, and said, I'll send you the link when it goes live and all that. And so I thought, that'll be fun, and it'll get buried somewhere on, page B23 somewhere just in front of this, the one-page sports section that the Times has. And on December 23rd last year, she texted me and goes, here it is, Sean, enjoy. And it was a digital copy of the article, but she also sent me a snapshot of the physical paper. And wouldn't you believe it, that story about Christmas Adam landed on the front page of the Times last year on December the 23rd, 2024. So, as I've told my friends, I said, I can only go downhill from here, because unless I become president of the United States, which I never will, I'm never going to be on the front page of the Times ever again. But sure enough, here in America, where a little boy's dream, the American dream is alive and well. A little boy can grow up in this country, make a stupid meme on social media, and one day get posted and quoted on the front page of the paper of record in this country. So the American dream is still alive and well, my friends.
How many members did we lose over that?
Like members, like bodily
church
members? Like church
members, yeah.
Do we lose over having a pastor quoted on the front page of the Times?
Yes, you.
I'm not aware of any, but then again, there's many things I'm not aware of.
Okay, well, I don't think we gained or lost any, but I had to bring that up. Well, that's good. So if anyone has any question, again, I tried to get a McRib today or tonight, and they're gone. And if I've ever had one, it was 15 or 20 years ago. So it was going to be revelatory.
I did too. Brad, as you know, one of our deacons decided to throw a little celebratory 1-year anniversary party of this cultural phenomenon. And so we had a little get together after work tonight, and we tried to go to the local.
No,
McDonald's.
I wasn't invited.
He didn't invite you?
I don't. Who knows? I don't
Oh,
remember.
wait, I
It's
thought,
okay.
I thought he sent an email to every guy in the church. But,
I was busy. No, I think I did get invited. It's okay.
Well, we tried to go and get a McRib after work tonight, and wouldn't you know it, they were there. So there's two, as you know, there's two McDonald's locations here in Oak Ridge, and both of them were entirely sold out of McRibs.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we are choosing to believe that we have created such a cultural phenomenon that there has been a run on the McRibs, such that they are entirely sold out. That's how popular a movement we have created with this Christmas Adam thing. That they're sold out on Christmas Adam.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll revisit this, but we go to, well, it's probably the most gravitas on the show. Jim Cassidy, Dr. Jim Cassidy, OPC pastor down South Austin Presbyterian Church, if I'm not mistaken, and a regular on Reform Forum. Jim, I'm pretty sure at no point so far tonight you kind of gotten confused and thought that you were on Reformed Forum. This is not really Reform Forum. We're not in Kansas anymore.
Well, Camden, I mean, Brad, yeah, I really did mistaken you for my colleague and y'all for my other colleagues. And I just have to say, if I may, that this, I have a McRib of my own Christmas Eve, because I married a woman by the name of Eve. And so I call her my rib. And I can say that, even though I'm not Adam, but I like to pretend I am some days.
Well, just be careful with what you eat, I guess. And
yeah, that's right.
No,
yeah.
I didn't know that I didn't know her name was Eve, but that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Our big joke, of course, every year on tomorrow is Merry Christmas Eve. So yeah, that's it's my dad joke. It's not so good, not as good as Sean's, but nothing of mine is as good as Sean's.
Well, we wouldn't say that. We wouldn't say that. Of course, unlike, Sean's wife is several inches taller than him and me and everyone else on the show. You probably don't have that that blessing. Sorry, I didn't say problem.
No, I don't.
Well, do you have any grievances, Jim? You've been on the show before a time or two, but you jumped at the chance to do Festivus. I got the idea you were a true believer, and what's on your list. And it's okay if the PCA is part of it, because there are other people on this panel that are probably going to bring up some PCA things in their list.
Just you and Sean. That's it. Other than that, no grievances about the PCA.
That's entirely fair.
Yeah.
Now I will say that I am looking forward to the feats of strength. Although I don't want to have to take on Dan, but I'll probably take on you, Brad, and might have a half a chance at winning.
Good call. Very good call.
I'm warming up.
So Jim, what do you make of the last year in American politics and religion? I mean, surely there's something to say about that.
American politics and religion. Well, yeah, perhaps Christian nationalism hasn't quite gotten all the strength I've wanted to get so far. And I was really looking forward to another scene of Trump standing out in front of a church with a Bible, but we're still waiting for that. Maybe someday, between blowing up ships in the Caribbean, and he might do that for us again.
Yeah, it's been a strange time. There was the tweet from Hegseth last week. We worshipped at the Pentagon, which meant we listened to contemporary Christian music performers perform. That definition of worship really rubs me the wrong way. But we love to see lots of Christians in the U.S. military and indeed the government. But some of the choices that have been made, I feel like I've mentioned before, government by meme, which is a strange time that we live in, and not what you and I, at least, Jim, grew up with. given our advanced years and age.
Well, maybe you, but I can't say the same about me. Yeah.
All right. Dr. Lloyd Jones used to, as a young boy, after his family was removed from Wales, and they came to London to operate a dairy in Westminster.
Mm-hmm.
He used to climb into the gallery of the House of Commons and witness some of the more consequential political debates in Britain in the early 20th century. So he may or may not have thoughts on the decorum and tone of the American political climate in 2025.
You know what's really funny, Brad, is that, Trottle, sorry, I'll go by your given name, that every time I'm on the show, you tell me new facts about myself that I didn't even know. Like, I haven't
You
even...
have memory problems. Yes.
No. Listen, I have ghostwriters. I haven't even read half the books that I claim to have written. And so here you are just coming at me with these factoids, which may or may not be true. So I will neither confirm nor deny what you've just said, because I don't want to have, like, Jan 6 charges against me for having sneaked in and seen what's going on in Parliament. But yes, having not even read half the books I've written, I cannot confirm what you've said. But my opinions, it's just another day in paradise. You may live in a land with no kings at present, but, congratulations on his 2028 coronation, King J.D. Vance. That's all I have to say from where I'm sitting in the cheap British seats. I see you nodding your head in agreement. Violent agreement, even.
It was violent, all right. Absolutely. All right, well, you take some of that Prevagen for your memory, and we'll come back to you in a bit. So, Bishop Borvan, what's sticking in your craw? Not just about California politics, but about evangelicalism and maybe even some of the things going on adjacent to our little Reformed. You think about it. NAPARC's about 600,000 members, and if you include, confessional, Calvinistic Baptist, and because I don't think we want to include the CREC, but the most generous number of our tribe is 1 million. If we bring in some real, even some sideliners and outliers, but what about what's going on in our little tiny slice of American religion?
Well, all right, PCAers, get your steel-toed boots on because it's time to step on some toes. PCA GA 365. What's the deal with General Assembly 365 days a year? The day after the close of the General Assembly, you're blowing up my Twitter feed with tweets about the General Assembly of next year. Do you not get it out of your system?
That's how much we love our church.
Do you have other things in your life? You have SEC football.
The answer is no, we have nothing else in our life. And take these grievances to blue sky, sir. I mean, how dare you?
So you know the answer to that question regarding NAPARC people. Do you have anything else in your life besides GA? You know the answer to that.
I don't. First of all, I hate meetings. I always tell my church, I'll preach for free. You got to pay me to go to meetings. So the fact that you guys are so geeked about going to a meeting that lasts an entire week, I don't think you guys actually go to the meeting portion. I think it's a nice time for you to get together with your friends and go out and have barbecue and smoke cigars and drink some beers and listen to Spin give his PCA song and have all those rah-rah good times. You don't actually go to the meeting part, because if you went to the meeting, you would not be so enthused about the meeting. But then the next day, you're so excited about going back next year for another meeting, tweeting about it every day of GA. I'm having to mute PCA GA from my Twitter feed. It's exhausting.
It's just a little bit of heaven on earth, and don't we all long for heaven? I mean,
well, this is one of the perks of being in the PCA is that you can having friends is a big perk. And so I just, I don't want to assume too much about our NAPARC brethren. So, having friends is a perk that helps.
I think we're going to tweet that even harder now. We're going to keep tweeting PCAGA. Maybe this is a good time to ask Christopher, Drew, and Jim, what's the status with the OPCGA hashtag? I think I've seen that. Never? Do you even have a General Assembly?
Well, they do. I've seen it on an Etch-a-Sketch before.
You expect me to address that? Well, we do have one, but it's the technical sophistication of an old IBM mainframe in comparison to what the PCA does.
But sturdy, right?
Yeah, it can operate for decades on those old tubes.
We went to the moon on one of those mainframes.
That's right.
Many would say
allegedly
we did that. Many would say
yes,
we did that.
Many would say we did.
Would you say it's like operating in a former Radio Shack in terms of the aesthetics of the OPC?
No, it's tackier than that. If trying to,
I wanted to ask: Is it that good? Is it that good, really?
It's more like a 1980s Burger King.
When I was a fraternal delegate to the OPC, the most charming part about the meeting area was that over on one wall there was a folding table, and on it had Tylenol, ibuprofen, Band-Aids, and some other
CPAP water.
Well, that's very thoughtful to provide CPAP water, because it's hard to fly with that. But when you check into the dorm, it's wonderful. But it was just it's a little different than the Jim, you'll love this. When you have to use a full-size convention hotel, everything is expensive. All the food's provided by Aramark. There's a price tag for everything. The only way we could afford to put out water, not coffee, because that's beyond anyone's budget. Water for the participants is to have the water coolers sponsored. And Westminster Seminary, California, I think, sponsored the water one year. And boy, it was good. But it ran out. So
I've heard Kleinian water. It was delicious. It had it was not Covenant of Works water. It was all Covenant of Grace water. Ooh. It was very Kleinian.
I've heard good things and high praise about the CPAP water from the OPCGA.
Well, you don't drink it.
I was going to say.
Uh-oh.
I was going to say that an organization from California providing water is
it's an iffy bet.
Thing.
Yeah, it's an iffy bet.
There's the dog.
The dog agrees. It's an iffy bet.
Yeah, that's the new Resby dog.
See, I had a well-timed joke about giving water. I had a well-timed Dune joke. I mean, it was timely. It worked. It was relevant. And then this animal over here.
You don't think anybody in the OPC is like a science fiction or Dune fan, do you? I can't imagine such a thing.
I was finally ready to contribute.
All right, so we'll mute the Resby dog for a while. Resby is sensitive enough that he hears my dog snoring all the time, and that you gotta really know what you're listening for. But he doesn't snore that loud.
Birds of a feather. Birds of a feather.
Get that marmot under control.
Yeah, nice marmot. So Dan, it's almost become among my PCA friends in our group, and of course Sean's one of them. Sometimes we'll think, we'll actually message each other. Oh, Dan Borvan's going to love this, or he's going to love today because it's going to be off the chain or on the chain or whatever they do.
Yeah, and graciously, you guys started tagging me in some of those, so it's been wonderful.
Well, you asked for it. So, besides the,
look, I'm just jealous because you guys have wonderful places to visit for your GA. We've been to Buffalo, New York.
Oh man!
which in 2022, because of all the COVID mess, we didn't have our synod in June as God intended. We had it in October. And I got off the plane in October in Buffalo.
It was already snowing, wasn't it?
It was 37 degrees and raining. I wish it were snowing. Snow would have been better. I said, who had this beautiful idea to have synod in Buffalo? And it's because it was supposed to be in Ontario, but none of the Americans wanted to go to Canada. So they said, all right, we'll do you a favor. And it takes 3 steps over the border into Buffalo. So it took me like a day and a half to travel from the West Coast to Buffalo. So I'm just jealous that you guys have nice places like Memphis for your General Assembly. The beautiful streets of Memphis.
Very posh. Very posh.
Only one presbyter had his truck stolen.
At least you had better food. You have Memphis barbecue.
He was literally walking in Memphis. Like he had his car, he had his truck boosted on Beale Street. Okay, the 3 kings of Memphis, Jerry the King Lawler, B.B. King, and Elvis, and that Johnny Cash got shafted, and there weren't 4 kings of Memphis. This is a much longer discussion, but I do love the way, just the gravelly way in which he said Buffalo. Like, it had just tremendous, like,
it wasn't gravitas. It was more angst.
I've had a 4-year-old flu from Buffalo. I'm driving in with the Uber driver, and there's nobody around. We're driving into downtown. I said, "Oh, does this town close up after working hours?" He says, "Oh no, it's always empty. Buffalo's dead as can be. All the business left. You're the only one happening now in Buffalo. The URC Synod was the most business they'd had in weeks."
Well, you got to remember, Dan, we always choose very hot, humid venues as well.
Next year, we're blessed in the URC to be going to Calgary.
Well,
so it's only going to take me 2 days. I got to get a dog sled after I fly into the airport to take me to the hotel. I probably won't make it back because I'm sure I'm going to have at least 6 hate crimes before I even check in for synod. So I'll probably be locked up in Canada, where Christianity is even more illegal than in California.
Well, someone may try to talk you into medically assisted dying, or whatever they call it.
After a few days in Canada, I might take them up on that.
Well,
it's better than living in Canada.
Guard your heart. That's all we can say. So, all right. So PCA 365. So I meant to back up your social media complaints about the PCA. There's a national, and I can't remember. There's a couple of national religion reporters, and or maybe it was Ryan Burge, the former pastor who now writes about religion, and he says, when I do a post about the PCA, I get 10 times the engagement that I get from even larger denominations. So I don't know what this says about us. It says something. Maybe this is just on X. I don't know if it's on Facebook or.
I'm just jealous that my wife and kids don't love me as much as PCA people love PCA-GA.
Okay, well, no, it's fair. And we were told back in 2016 or 17, whenever it was, that if we voted for the women's study committee, that our wives would love us more.
Oh my gosh, I was there.
And a few people can prove, there's evidence that just didn't work out, and in many cases, I didn't notice any uptick, but that's me.
Nope, so. No uptick, but true advice that Dan gives, son. Find your woman who looks at you the way PCA men look at GA each year. And you'll be loved for life.
Just don't love that woman. Just don't let that woman do the public reading of scripture in the worship service, as happens in some PCAs.
That's all we ask, son. That's all we ask.
I went there.
Can we say one thing about those fine deaconesses? They all have aged wonderfully. I wonder what their skincare regimen is, because if these are the women who in 1 Timothy are described as being north of 60 with no surviving children who are working for the church and have their material needs taken care of, they all look like 20 and 30-something-year-old women. I mean, how did they do it? These deaconesses? Rather remarkable. So I'm sorry that your children don't love you as much as we do PCA-GA, Dan, but just do better.
Sway babes don't age.
I always
just
say,
do better.
Hate the sway, not the babe, as I used to say. But no, we punch above our weight. That's what we hear. So, Jim, you can tell us about and Chris too. In a good year, an OPC General Assembly has 3 or 4 overtures, and usually they don't pass. It's Christmas, and we have 34 already. There are 34 overtures passed by presbyteries, written up in form, done, that are going to be before us. So instead of being, sort of getting voted in to the Overtures Committee, it's a privilege and an honor by presbyteries. Now, I think presbyteries will be sentencing their bad guys. You'll be sentenced to serve on the Overtures Committee at the next General Assembly. But Jim, why aren't there many moves to change the OPC Book of Church Order, or to make statements, or to do all the things that these documents seek to accomplish in the PCA?
You can't improve perfection.
Sanity.
Yeah, I mean, one of the proposed names in 1938 or 9, when you had to, and I wrote an article on this, because of because the PC USA was going to sue you if you didn't change your name from the Presbyterian Church of America, PCA. You had to change it, and they had really good lawyers, like, with last names like Dulles, and they were going to sue you, so you had to vote in a new name. And I don't know if it's serious or not. I'm not sure anyone does. But
Presby McPresby face.
No, that wasn't it. True Presbyterian Church of the World. I think
that was that was done in jest, but it was actually a real alternative that could have been. It was voted on.
It made the minutes.
Yes, it did.
So it happened.
It should have been True Presbyterian Church of the Known Universe. But
that doesn't roll off the tongue. Yeah,
no. It's like the Super Bowl claiming a world championship. I love the braggadocio.
So, but Jim, why aren't they doing that?
Well, I think that, on the charitable note, I think that the OPC does not have as many controversies in it as the PCA does. That's just by virtue of our size, perhaps. Also, being a smaller church, we tend to be more like-minded throughout the denomination. So going from one OP church to another, there's very little difference in terms of our worship services. We're all generally, not all of us, but most of us are on the same page. The government of the church, how we see the doctrine of the church, and it's kind of what we've all signed up for. And those who don't sign up for that and yet still find themselves in our midst as either ministers or elders tend not to last too long because they realize that we're old and stodgy. We're not going to change, darn it. And they eventually end up leaving. So we end up having, from time to time, a Scottish revival. And that kind of keeps us united. And when that's the case, there's very little reason to make changes. We do, on occasion, seek to make changes. One of our big changes was the Directory for Public Worship back, 15 years ago or so. And that new Directory for Public Worship has served us well. That went through relatively without much controversy. And it has really served to help unite our denomination.
You're just bragging now to these PCA guys.
Go ahead.
You're just bragging now to these PCA guys about a directory for public worship.
They're
violating the 10th commandment all over the place now.
I shall not covet, I shall not covet, I shall not covet.
Well, that's between you and Jesus. But anyway, and we're going to go ahead and try to go ahead and revise our form of government, I believe, or directory, book of discipline.
That's a form of.
So
Yeah.
we're going to make some further changes.
Well, I think, I don't know if it's 4 or 5, but you have a hardbound Book of Church Order, and even if an overture is passed, an amendment is passed, it doesn't go into effect for as much as 4 years from that time, because it has to be printed in the new hardbound book. So it's like this. It's a built-in check and balance and break. I guess you would have time. You would have time to rescind your action if you wanted to before the book printed.
Yes, years 0 and 5, right, Jim? I think that was the new standard.
That's it.
0 and 5. Yep. So we got one coming up this year.
Yeah,
A
0
question,
and 5. That's right.
a question for the OPC men. Your upcoming debate, I've been following all the traction online on how many Vossians can dance on the head of a Ventillion pin. How do you all think that's going to break the votes on that one? And will the Jack in the Box let me remind everyone that the Jack in the Box winner is currently on the Presbycast. How do you all think that debate's going to go? Arduous? Orderly? How's that
Odorous?
going to go?
Odiferous?
You remember Ardor and Order. You remember that.
Yeah.
I think there's
Jim,
going to be
take
a
that
whole
one.
lot of presupposing.
Yeah.
We're going to be tired of all the winning. I mean,
By what standard will you arrive at this conclusion? And what will Thomas Aquinas have to say about this, Jim? I know that you're very big into the Aquinas fellow.
Yeah, Thomas would most certainly direct us to natural law to figure that one out.
Good and necessary consequence.
No, just natural law reasoned without the aid of special revelation.
Okay. Well, that's a lot of people are invested in those particular debates.
Jim just made Resby's dog cry.
That's an OPC dog. So
that dog is clearly a Thomist.
So
he must be classical.
So reasons for leaving the OPC, it might be like not being able to grow a beard. That might cause somebody to want to leave. A preference for white dress shirts rather than black, maroon, or mustard. Yes, the Dwight Schrute color palette. But
lack of
otherwise,
affinity for jorts.
That's right. Jorts and New Balance, right?
But we love them anyway, and Jim's
for the
cool.
record,
Jim's cool.
I don't own any jorts and I don't own any New Balance, but there are a lot of other things that put me into the OPC category, sort of like being ornery and rude.
Well, but hold on. You have a defense. You've got an excuse there. You're from New Jersey. And
there's no excuse.
Yes, I am.
And you could.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think you're fine for someone with that particular handicap.
It's almost as bad as Buffalo.
Nothing's as bad as Buffalo.
It's a little bit warmer in New Jersey. That's about all we got. And we do also have the Giants rather than the Bills, which is not really, unless you're in the 1980s, a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chris, since we've got you warmed up, any grievances from you?
There are always grievances. I have the standard one that I've raised up several times, but I don't know if I have so much a grievance I want to make as I want to make a reverence, if I could, because we are in the presence, after all, of the esteemed Bishop of Festivus.
It's feats of strength. So we can commend feats of strength. That's part of Festivus.
So your most exalted and aluminum-clad eminence and thrice-cheered Bishop of Festivus, a Supreme Archbishop of the airing of grievances and undisputed Grand Master of the feats of strength and keeper of the high, bland pole, of course, high tensile, rust-resistant, and tastefully unadorned. and the eternal disappointer of the commercialized holiday cheer. In abject and groveling reverence, we fling ourselves face first into the cold, unforgiving linoleum floor of your festive dominion on this most special of non-denominational eves. May your grievance list grow ever longer, more specific, and increasingly passive-aggressive. May your pinning technique remain flawless, and your opponents forever pinned beneath the unyielding weight of your righteous disappointment. And may the high bland pole stand forever straight, unbent by tinsel, unbowed by sentiment, and utterly devoid of any structural weakness that might suggest emotional support. And I beg your grace's indulgence for my many failings, chief among them my inability to locate a single decent directory for public worship in this forsaken city, and pledge eternal loyalty to the one true holiday that demands nothing and yet somehow judges everything. So, kneeling in awed silence and with some lower back discomfort, your most unworthy grievance acknowledging and easily dominated servant who dares not challenge you in the feats of strength, lest he be humbled again.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Te absolvo, brother. Grace and peace.
I felt my heart strangely warmed.
Yeah, so Chris, come clean on the source of this blessing that you just rendered.
Oh, certain large language models may have been evoked in the construction of that reference. Specifically, one owned by a particular multi-billionaire.
So
that narrows it down. Thank you.
We've let demon AI into the Presbyverse, but it had to happen. Yeah, imagine the OPC guy geeking out with AI.
He does his sermons that way every Sunday.
So here's the serious.
I thought that Sam Altman was in the OPC. I thought that Sam Altman and Elon were both in the OPC.
Elon would probably. Jim can tell me whether he would disagree or not, but if Elon were to ever be in an APART denomination, I would probably hazard a guess he'd end up in the OPC.
Oh, totally.
That would be my.
Absolutely.
That would be my. He's just got that vibe, right?
He's got a dusting of the Spurg in him, so he would fit right in.
Yeah, yeah.
He's an engineer. Of course, he would come into the OPC.
It's called presbytism.
He's got a touch of the tism.
This tism you're talking about, is that baptism?
No,
is that baptism? I'm trying to keep up with all the online chatter about the tism.
Yeah, it's a new Gen Z slang for sprinkling.
Yeah. They did,
good.
They didn't have tism when you were around.
No, they didn't. I can't speak from personal experience, of course. Nevertheless, yes, Elon Musk absolutely would be in the OPC, and quite frankly, he would be in Jim Cassidy's church, right there.
Local.
Jim,
yeah, that's true. He'd be right there in South Austin.
What has your evangelism been to the Tesla employees and to the Twitter? How are you reconquisting the electric vehicle industry? Tell us now for everyone to know.
Well, I would say that if Elon Musk was a member of our congregation, I would be most grateful because I wouldn't be the most awkwardly social person in the room.
He would also probably quadruple the size of your church. No disrespect to your church, but the fecundity of that man, gosh, that's a full quiver.
But the church discipline load would really would be tough.
How can you baptize this kid when it has an unpronounceable name?
Hey, look, listen, why don't you go 0110111 yourself, okay? Just leave that little one alone.
We certainly would have our budget multiplied by many.
So, a serious question. One of the things the PCA does is study committees, and there was one last year. Two passed last year, but one of the ones I really wanted to pass was the AI study committee, and I think that might have actually been helpful. And I don't know who else has done something like that from a Christian perspective, but thoughts on AI and I don't know how much it's affecting the church at the moment. I think there are a lot of, the same sort of broad evangelical guys and megachurch guys who, pay ghostwriters and to write their sermons or buy packages that come with visuals and music and everything else and suggested props. Those are the kind of guys who would let AI write their sermon. I don't really think that's a problem in our circles, but any thoughts on AI? Although I don't really want to hear what the doctor has to say about it, but you younger men.
I think all shepherdesses should write their sermons using AI.
Well, there you go. There's one for the hopper. Chris, you're kind of a geek. I mean, you even do some tech stuff for the OPC. I mean, you're IT or web support or something. You do stuff. You do something. Nobody knows what it is, but it's very secret. But how do you view the AI menace or blessing regarding the church?
AI is, well, first of all, we should say what it's not, which is it is not artificial intelligence. It is to be just a pedant for a little bit. It's a large language model. It's basically taking, for example, if you go to a search engine and you start typing in a search term, what do you normally see these days? You see the web browser starting to autocomplete what you're typing in. The way you can think of AI is it's basically that kind of technology, but at a just massive, huge scale. And it's basically designed to answer what is really just a really extended, complex prompt using very complex math and massive amounts of data, which requires massive computational power and electrical generation. And so in terms of its impact on the church, you're going to see it creep in automatically with men who don't have the confidence to do their own exegetical work in preaching. It will basically pick up where the docent group would have, I guess, left off. You'll see people writing books with it and trying to pass that off as their own work. You'll see all that kind of stuff. There are certain things that I find helpful about it. It has some capacity to do things that I normally would have to pay to use with other tools. So, for example, a devotional I sent out for our church includes a page from a scanned PDF book that I have. And there are tools you can use to extract the text, but I can actually just take a screenshot of that page, give it to Grok and say, just extract the text from this page, and it does it, and I copy it and put it in the newsletter. It's all cited, it came from this book, but tools like that, it can be helpful to try to do, some more mundane things quickly and efficiently. But there is a risk to the church that what you're getting is not authentic. And from a pastoral perspective, especially when it comes to preaching, it will become pastors who decide that it would be a good idea to indulge their lazy bone and use it to produce a sermon is going to produce things that bears no relevance to the local congregation they're preaching to. The pastor's supposed to know their flock and to bring the word of God to bear, whatever the text is you're preaching from. Whether if you're doing Lectio Continua like many of us do in the OP, you're supposed to be able to bring that to bear to the people in the pews. And AI is not going to know the multitude of variables of the different people who sit in the pews. You do. And so there is a danger, I think, in churches where, I've had a rough week. What am I going to do? I'm running out of time. So easy just to put in a prompt or a text. And the models are going to be good at providing, even some generally pretty good quality exegetical work. Maybe from that perspective, it's okay. But when it spills over into actually writing like sermon manuscripts and the like, that's when it gets pretty challenging to think about. So I do think it would be something for the church to take seriously and figure out how do we bring the Word of God to bear on technology like this so that we're using it in a Christ exalting and flock edifying manner.
Sean, a lot of your library, you tell me, is on your computer, and maybe you get it through Logos. You don't have as many printed books as some older pastors do. Is Logos going to become an AI thing, or is it going to stay sort of clunky like it is? I wonder.
Logos does have an AI feature already. I've not taken advantage of it myself. It's probably just because I'm not an elder millennial. I'm a middle-aged millennial, and so I've not availed the abilities of AI, availed myself of them the way others might have. I use Grok and ChatGPT once in a while, basically as a glorified version of a Google search to get some information to me really quickly if I'm looking for something, for a quick rundown of some information. But I'm sure there's far more sophisticated ways that it could be used. And like any other tool, I think it could be used ethically. There's plenty of ways it can and is being used unethically. I mean, men plugging in sermon ideas and having it generate a lame sermon for them, or students being lazy and having it generate content for them to write a paper that's due tomorrow. Things like that are entirely unethical. We can all think of those kinds of examples. But I think, like Chris was saying, it's like any other tool. It can be used well. It can save a lot of time. It can run down the information for you and make a quick table or a tabulation or even a graphic for you to save intensive hours of preparation if you need it for something. And if you cite it and give it the appropriate credit, that's perfectly fine and well, just like any other tool, I suppose. But no, I mean, I think Logos is great for a variety of reasons. I know they do have some AI software that they're trying to integrate with their system. I've not taken advantage of it, though, so I can't speak to whether or not it's useful or not. One thing I will say, I'll bend over into the, I'll lean over into the airing of grievance portion of the evening, is I didn't used to hate it, but now, thanks to AI, I do hate it. I hate the word align or its derivative, alignment. And I'm convinced that no one ever used that word in their common vocabulary until we started using AI. And now everyone says align and alignment, and I'm convinced that no one would have, but because that is a favored word that's generated by AI tools, by ChatGPT and so forth, now everyone and their brother is using the words align or alignment, and it drives me nuts. I had a guy come up to me a few weeks ago. He was asking about different views of the Lord's Supper in the Reformed tradition. And I think he laid out somebody's, it might have been Vermigli's, I can't remember, but he said, do you align with that or not? And I didn't say this out loud, but in my mind I'm thinking, up until 5 minutes ago we used the word agree, but now we all use the word align or alignment because of AI. And, that just chaps my hide, Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones. Just thought I'd mention that.
I'd like to align myself with his comments.
Well,
I would like to.
Hold on, Doctor. Hold on, Doctor.
No, hold on.
I have a theory about why Sean Morris is against the word alignment, the term. It's because his wife, some of you know, she set several land speed records for minivans, and she's hit a curb or two, and I've handbrake turns. I experienced that one time. So I'm sure there's a lot of alignment issues with the Morris family truckster, and that's probably your bias against the term.
I'm astonished that her minivan has a handbrake.
Well,
sign me up.
We did a turn once that was like a tactical maneuver. I'll just tell you.
A minivan? I thought she had a full-size bus at this point, at the rate that the Morrises are multiplying. But additionally...
I heard you use the word fecundity earlier. My ears perked up.
Yeah, the fecundity. That was probably the most quotable moment from PCAGA. Sorry, Dan, didn't mean to trigger you there. A little traumatizing. I'm an equal opportunity traumatizer here this evening. But when the representative from the ARP said, "History goes to the fecund," I almost fell out of my seat laughing, because between he and Kevin DeYoung our current Dutch moderator. There's a little nod to you there, Dan. The Dutch. 18 children between those two men. So those are goals. But I do have to say, Sean, to come back to your, very optimistic, AI thing, can AI take a photograph of its own finger pointing at a computer screen and then send that shot to others in the group chat, where it easily could have been a screenshot? But can AI do that? I think not. That is old school Lloyd Jonesing, if there ever was any.
Well, back in my day, guys of my generation just plagiarized Tim Keller sermons like gentlemen. And now these Gen Zennials can just fake their sermons with AI. It's embarrassing.
Well, imagine if you fed all of Tim Keller's sermons into a large model and just said, spin them out for me. That'd be something.
We just got to find the person who's already done it, because there's no way there's just no way that hasn't happened yet.
The humalaxing that would result would be fecunding.
No, it would free up lots of time for.
How many thousands of dollars was that? If you want to buy it from Logos, I can't remember.
It's
a not insubstantial.
$3,600, I think.
They were in on the sermon laundering business. I mean, this is Enron level status. This is egregious, Christopher Drew.
All right. In the interest of being positive, are there any figures or groups?
Don't you know what day it is? Positivity that will not stand. This aggression will not stand, man.
Feats of strength. Who actually in our world performed feats of strength since the last Festivus show?
100% of the calories I've eaten today have come from a Del Taco, both lunch and dinner. So
Del Taco is a little it's not everyone has
one. I know
one.
Del Taco, it's great.
Yeah, you should stop there. If you're traveling and you see a Del Taco, even my classy wife was converted to Del Taco and took her own father there in his later years. So in Orlando, I was very proud of her. So it's good stuff. They have hamburgers there. It's a strange place, but
Jack
it's
in
good.
the Box is the burger place where you can get tacos. Del Taco is the taco place where you can get burgers.
And the Jack in the Box tacos are pretty tasty.
Oh, I've never had fewer than double digits.
I mean, it's a deep fried taco. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and the Jack in the Box taco sauce is actually pretty excellent. You always grab maybe one more handful than you should just to keep around the house.
No, in case he's listening, the only reason I didn't invite Nate Pascal on, who could talk about these things, was that we already had 3 OPC guys on the show, which is the legal limit, I think. So who do we commend? Who do we commend for good work? Feats of strength, feats of ecclesial and doctrinal strength in the last year.
Well, don't we have to mention Ben Glasser's?
The statement.
Yeah, the statement.
Yeah.
That
Well, it was adopted by three assemblies in short order, and made him a public enemy in the online sphere with all the right people. And those of us who know him know that he's been called a liberal and all sorts of things. It's like it exposed the silliness and the unreality of certain types.
He has all the right enemies.
Yeah, I think you have to give a feat of strength just for what he puts up with in his mentions on a daily basis now.
Yeah, and it truly does roll off of him in a way that it doesn't roll off of everyone.
It's because he's got such a smooth dome on top; it slides right off like a duck's back.
I should say the way normal people would, because he's not a normal guy, of course.
He's got the Lloyd Jones haircut.
He's a oos.
True enough.
I shineth. I have a feat of strength. Thomas Ricard went full Ricard. He went full Ricard, and he did 17 overtures. 17. That is amazing. Single-handedly, he out-Grecoed the Greco. The meatballs on that man, if he's not Italian-American, it's remarkable. We will be in Overtures Committee forever. It will be the buffalo of PCAGA.
There we go.
I was going to say, I thought 34 overtures were rookie numbers.
Oh,
you got to check out the PCUSAGA sometimes. It's insane.
They'll be 50 by the time we're done. There's no doubt about that.
People do like
I'd like
see their
to
name in print.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'd like to nominate Tim Brindle.
Oh, for his words at the last General Assembly?
Yes, and his feat of strength for giving us something to talk about during PCAGA last year.
Yeah, it was memorable and notable for sure. So you're the strange OPC guy who watches most of the live stream of the PCA General Assembly, just out of fascination, kind of like you would watch kind of like a rubbernecker at a multi-vehicle automobile accident, possibly involving a soup tanker and maybe a truck full of rubber duckies. That sort of a spectacle. That's why you watch.
Yeah, it's almost like a sporting event,
right.
And you kind of cheer for some people and root against others, and it's a lot of fun.
I'm always spending most of my time evaluating the attire. Who's wearing, tank top versus a 3-piece suit?
Okay,
it's the
no shoes, no shirt, no voting.
Wolf t-shirts. Wolf t-shirts are on brand, no matter what generation or century you live in. And so I've been wont to wear a Wolf t-shirt. But I do have to ask: has the OPC ever dropped a diss track after the GA? Posthumously after GA's long and dead, have they ever dropped a diss track like Timothy Brindle? I could see Jim. I could definitely see some Matis Yahoo vibes with Jim, just dropping a couple bangers that way.
I've been known to get my beat on every once in a while. No. See, this is I leave the musical talent to Chris, but I do write the lyrics, and yeah, we've been known to drop a beat.
Well, you heard it here first.
One now.
Yeah.
Speaking of cheering, I wanna offer a grievance on behalf of one of the panelists here, because I'm surprised he hasn't brought it up yet. I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Jim Cassidy in person for the first time in real life this past summer, and we had a wonderful time. And part of our excursion involved going to a Cubs game at Wrigley Field, and poor Jim had to subject himself to the entire stadium cheering PCA, PCA, PCA multiple times, and not OPC. I'm just surprised he hasn't aired that as a grievance this evening.
Well, that's a good point, Sean. That was on my list, but I had others of greater priority. But yes, it was quite hurtful, and talk about a microaggression. To hear those 3 letters chanted over and over again into my ears was too much to handle.
It was bad. It was bad.
What's the name of the player that has the initials PCA? Who is that?
Pete Crow Armstrong.
Peter Crow Armstrong.
Wow.
Brings up bad joining and receiving vibes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad. Poor Jim. I mean, it's rough enough being a Mets fan, but he was a Mets fan at Wrigley, and then to have to listen to the entire stadium cheering PCA when there was only, 2 or 3 of us there total, and the rest of y'all were OPC folks. I mean, that goes beyond microaggression. That's a macroaggression.
That's
I
like
think
Providence
so.
telling you something.
The worst part about it is that the Cubs won. I mean, so I'm not sure if it was worse that the Cubs won and I had to hear Camden talk about it, or if it was the PCA chant. It's still up for grabs.
And then if I might offer another grievance on your behalf, since I was just there to witness it, you had to send that steak back. I've never seen a steak sent back, but I saw it. I was there. I bore witness to it with my own eyes. You had to send the steak back because it was so underdone. That might be,
I did.
That might be one of your chief grievances of 2025. I don't know.
Just a small correction. It was overdone.
I'm sorry, overdone.
I wanted it. Yeah, I wanted it less done, way less done. And somewhat sheepishly, I looked at the waitress and I just kind of asked her if this looked like it was medium rare. And she said, "I'll return a steak to you that's better cooked." So, and she did. And it was great.
There you go.
Applebee's only has the finest chefs, so that's really appalling. I know Reform Forum, they spend well on their guests, so Applebee's only high dollar bougie stuff for the Reform Forum guests.
That said, the Chili's in O'Hare is a fine establishment.
So the
Applebee's,
Applebee's Bourbon Street Steak. I may
I've had that. That's pretty good.
Sometimes the microwave at Applebee's gets a little out of whack when they cook their steaks. So you got to give them a break.
You call them Chef Mike.
The bottomless fries. I mean, Kyle back there on the fryer, he's been working his magic here locally. It's incredible. It keeps me coming back. The bottomless fries.
I'm surprised Camden didn't take you to the authentic Chicago Italian restaurant, Olive Garden. That's where I like to go when I'm in Chicago and eat Italian food.
That's true.
Who said he didn't take us there?
I mean, we got Maggio's, but I mean, Olive Garden would have been a step up.
The breadsticks are awesome.
They are awesome.
Who
I
has
got
a
the tour
train
of
in
Italy.
the background? Who has a train? Someone has a train.
Oh, that's me.
Was this the
So sorry.
Is this the Polar Express?
That's a very authentic little Christmas village he's got going on back there.
It's wonderful.
It's very realistic.
I'm playing Santa on the train.
Are the deacons the elves?
Yeah. Speaking of Christmas and the Christian religious season, much of it being cultural, it seems to me online there's been less arguing about Advent or dissing Advent or people drawing lines over that. But also I've heard very little about churches canceling their services for a week or two around Christmas so they can give their techs and musicians and pastoral staffs and popcorn, popper operators a day off. Has anyone else noticed that? I mean, have the other controversies, political and otherwise, distracted us from the true meaning of the season, which is to fight about every single part of it?
Yes. So what I'll say is everyone's homilies here probably this past Lord's Day really stunk, but at least the sacraments were good. This is me leaning into some Anglicarianism. It's very interesting, yes. Was it Carl Truman's, the OPC delegates can illumine me, was it Carl Truman's article against Advent that kind of awokened the anti-Adventite waters? And
was that maybe 10 years ago?
About 10 years ago, I think.
This is a family show, so we don't use the word woke here, Dr. Jones.
And I apologize for having introduced the anti-Adventite. And oh gosh, that's a lot there.
Dr. Jones,
he's an anti-Adventite.
An anti-Advent,
yes.
A rabid anti-Adventite, Jerry. Dr. Jones, was it an Advent article? I thought it was an Ash Wednesday article that irked the ire of everyone.
I've heard it both ways.
Well, we were calling Advent Ad-Lent a few years ago because it was sort of similar, and I think we proposed combining them and just picking a season, having Ad-Lent rather than Advent and Lent. But no takers, as usual.
I'm pretty sure it was Ash Wednesday Advent, Lent, they're both penitential seasons, very Catholic. Can't be bothered.
You definitely shouldn't be repentant of your sin, the other 50, however many weeks of the year.
Yes.
But isn't it amazing, gentlemen, how many people are willing to cut out the live nativity scene in the palm branches in some regions of the world where palm branches grow freely? They're willing to jump through all the hoops 2 times a year, but they can't be bothered to come back for evening worship. Because only coming to church at Christmas and Easter, that's the high mark of Christian devotion. Not coming and hearing from the Heidelberg Catechism, as a nod to our Dutch friends, or coming to hear the Word of God preached for the salvation of sinners in the evening for us, Westminsterian types. So it is just very telling and interesting. I feel like people have figured out where they land on that, whether they're full Presbyterian or whether they're sort of an Anglicarian hybrid. But yes, not as much Anglican bashing this year on the Twitter, from what I see.
I will say I have not seen so much of to get to what Brad said earlier, I have not seen so much traffic related to cancellation of services at the end of the year. And I don't know if that's a reflection that maybe some people hopefully may have taken that criticism seriously and maybe thought twice about it, or if they're letting it just sort of fly under the radar so they don't take flack. In either case, I've not seen as much of it.
So it seems to me that about every 7 years or so, this becomes more prominent because generally when I've seen it, it happens when Christmas falls on a Sunday. And if it falls on a Sunday, then you start seeing worship services get canceled. But usually if Christmas is during the week, as it is this year, not as much from my sort of layman's perspective.
If my children find out that there are churches that cancel on Christmas Sunday, we could have a small insurrection to put down. That's always their chief grievance. When Festivus is on a Friday, they do the math from there.
Well, I strongly support those megachurches canceling their Sunday services so that people can go to true churches and end up in a good spot with means of grace.
So today,
I actually like the idea. I think Christmas should just be the last Sunday in December. I think would actually be like if you could change it, if you were always going to do something, just have it be the last Sunday, and I think it always makes for an extra pleasant Lord's Day.
It's like the Thanksgiving of December. But here in my neck of the woods, which will remain unnamed, it's London. I'm here in London. A megachurch here in London actually had Christmas services because you can't be bothered to do it either on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. They had the gall, like Buffalonians, these insufferable Buffalonians, they had the gall to have Christmas services on December 23rd on the day of Festivus.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's egregious. My Festivian liberty has been violated, and I am incensed, and I come to the Bishop of Festivus. What do I do with this?
Just when we thought the Church of England couldn't get worse, they have services on Festivus. That's the highest of grievances. We're going to have to put them out. It's schism. They're going to be their lampstand shall be taken away.
Sacrilege.
They ran our family out of Bayside. That's all.
And take your female Archbishop of Canterbury with you.
Oh, let me give you a true story. Last year, we were in we were in England with my wife's some relatives. We traveled with them because they had an anniversary, and the trip was not of our design at all. We were along for the ride, being good good companions and relatives. And we went to Canterbury one day, and outside of Canterbury Cathedral, there are some stone buildings, and they have offices for these are bureaucrats in the Church of England. And I sort of lingered by one window because they had a pride flag or a trans flag or maybe two or three. This lady who worked right inside the window, and I'm standing 6 feet from her. And I think I probably took a picture with my phone, and she didn't like that very much. Didn't cause an incident, but I got the stink eye from a C of E lady, and it didn't become an incident. But we went up.
Your "Make America Greater Again" hat probably didn't help the situation.
No, I didn't do that. I'm not the ugliest American, at least. But you're in Canterbury Cathedral, which probably seats 2,000-3,000, and you go all the way up front. And the only services they have there weekly, they have in the choir. Okay, so you know what the choir is. It's where the choir sits a long way from the congregation, between the altar and the congregation. And I counted the chairs that they had up there. And this was for the attendees. And I think it was about 50. So the average, the weekly congregation at the weekly services, the actual church services at Canterbury Cathedral, are about the size of the average OPC church. So OPC, don't despair. You have real church services, and you have many of your churches have more than many Anglican cathedrals and large churches have. So that was.
Well, I'm glad you came out unscathed, because some of those they/them Church of England gals can really put you on your backside if you're not careful. They get rather hurly-burly.
Yeah. Well, there had a window between us, and I came out unscathed. That was.
Hey, they are a nice lady. Okay, they are a nice lady.
Yeah. So we could, and the Anglican Church North America, which is far more conservative and biblical than the Church of England. They've had a year. They've been through it. So we could go through top news stories and all that, but I think we're probably nearing the end of our time. But I had the list of top 10 theology stories, most of which have nothing to do with theology, from the Gospel Coalition, but anyone can go find that if they want. So I guess maybe, just closing remarks, edifying things that any of you can add at this point. And further you can do commendations or condemnations. I suppose that's the, as we wrap up, that's the direction. So, Bishop, I know you had a list of grievances, and I don't think you shared them all. You shared them privately.
I got a few more I could go through. PCA pastors converting to Rome in the middle of the liturgy. That's a good one.
Yeah,
more
that
egalitarianism. The public reading of Scripture done by they/them women.
Keep going.
One that grieved me recently was the Turning Point USA convention that people were lauding. And, we're back, baby, Christian America. They have it on a Sunday. So how Christian can this be when you're taking people away from Lord's Day worship to come to some political convention? It doesn't. If we're going to have Christian nationalism, can we at least start with the fourth commandment? Is that too much to ask?
Well,
we
you got to
need
be
a better
flexible.
caliber of Christian nationalist in this country.
You got to be flexible,
And not to mention the Chicago Pope Leo. I'm originally a Chicagoan, aggrieved Cubs fan, but the Pope, as if we didn't have reason enough to despise him, call him Antichrist. He's a White Sox fan. Yet another reason to hate the Vatican.
Well, anyone else? Because that was a good moderate take from you, Bishop Borvan. Anyone else with closing volleys, shots, or wonderful words of life?
I have a commendation. So I'd like to commend the PCA for putting together a study committee on Christian nationalism. I think that I enjoyed the debate on the floor during the GA and thought that was interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the committee comes up with. So kudos to the PCA.
Yeah, and I haven't heard that whether they. I think the goal is to get the report done before this next General Assembly, and I think they probably will. David Strain, pastor of First Pres Jackson, is the chairman. I don't think people have really bothered him and loaded him down with suggestions and data. I don't get that impression. So I think it could be good, and we'll see. And usually those things are released at least a few weeks before the assembly, and maybe we'll see that. I'm hearing that the directory for worship committee probably won't have a full report this year because it's a pretty complicated and big deal, but worth it. So we'll see. And that may address some of our NAPARC brethren, their concerns about our assembly. But we're always going to be looked on with concern and confusion, and I think we're pretty much at home with that, and we're sponges for abuse and criticism and advice. I think Dr. Morris would agree with that.
Oh, I think so. I've got one commendation and one grievance as we're moving towards a wrap up. Let's start with the positive. We'll end on a negative in the spirit of Festivus. On the commendation, TGC has a lot of valid reasons to be beat up upon, but one commendation was that excellent article that came out just a couple weeks ago from Dr. Nicholas Reed of RTS Orlando, where he explained the concept of what Father means in Isaiah 9:6 of everlasting Father, because there's a lot of confusion that folks have when they think, wait a minute, isn't that title talking about Jesus, the Messiah, and he's God the Son, so how do we call him Father? Isn't that a category confusion of the persons of the Godhead? So excellent output there on that TGC article from Dr. Nicholas Reed regarding how we can understand everlasting Father as it's applied to the Messiah, to God the Son. So there's a commendation.
And you preached on that Sunday morning.
I did, and I referenced that very article as part of my study and my research. It was very helpful. So kudos to Dr. Reed for that. That was very helpful. And for my grievance, I'll just say, grown men who are ordained ministers, ordained teaching elders in Northwest Georgia Presbytery of the PCA, ordering apple teenies at lunch at PCA General Assembly, and I'll just leave it at that.
I thought you guys got rid of side B.
And this person in question may or may not be listening to the show right now, so there you have it.
I don't even know what they are, so that's how manly I am.
They are an Anglican.
Well, all right. It's been a good one. We've had clips and content that we haven't played, including the song that I wrote about Festivus last year. Have yourself a merry little Festivus, and we're not going to inflict that on anyone, and we'll just have an old gospel.
You're not going to play it as the outro? That seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, most people
big way.
Most people won't hear it anyway. They're not going to hang on that long. But
they dropped off a long time ago.
We've had riveting content at this point in time.
And it's not have yourself a merry little Festivus. It's a bearable Festivus. That's something Presbycast came up with. You don't say merry Festivus. You say bearable Festivus. And
may your tidings be effective.
That's right. And we know we got 3 OPC guys on here. Pilgrims and strangers, an unwelcome and foreign concept to many people. We don't want to be sad sacks and Eeyores to an extreme, but just some days just getting through, and sometimes as churchmen, just keeping our head above the waters, because we do deal with a lot of unpleasant things, and there's no magic formula. But yeah, the pilgrim and stranger concept needs more work and more understanding of that, I believe. But yeah, maybe we'll play that on the way out, and we'll see. We'll see. And anyway, I apologize for it because it's terrible. But if it's funny, that's why it's funny. And if not, I'm sorry. But Resby, any words from? Well, I guess you or the dog.
He apparently just needed to wrestle a little bit, so I put the audio on speaker and muted myself, and delivered a couple of stunners. And he's in his kennel after a very effective DDT. It's good to have another quadruped in the house a little after a while. It's been a couple years. Grievances, I kind of just tried to stay out of the way of greatness today. I have not enjoyed my local grocery store no longer carrying my favorite brand of pickles. This is a Clausen household. And I think we could just do better. Hopefully 2026, we could get some Grillos on the shelves, and we'll kind of go from there. This is one of the few areas on which Chortles and I depart in our enjoyment of pickled anything. But it is what it is.
All right, so because this what I'm about to play is our outro music is so bad, Resby requested that we leave. I don't mute everyone, so chants of derision or the verbal equivalent of thrown fruit, you'll have your opportunity. So, or just lamenting audibly as this plays. So, Resby, are you ready for it or not?
I am, and please, as we head into 2026, in the spirit of Festivus, please don't be nerdmen.
I'm very sorry. Have yourself a bearable Festivus. Injuries avoid. Still, your family will be annoyed. It's true. Have yourself a bearable Festivus. May your feet be strong. May your list of grievances be nice and long.
Listen to that
Good falsetto. Good falsetto.
Camden can't hit that note. Camden can't hit that.
Here we are, as in olden days.
Good pathos there.
Grievous golden days of yore. Faithful friends who will wrestle us, pin merciless on the floor. Through the years, we all will eat the meatloaf, tinsel dish of owl. Boy, this pole is light and strong, a great strength to weight ratio. Just wow. So have yourself a bearable Festivus now. Happy Festivus from all of us at Presbycast.
What's wrong with you people?